and we're going to try to get you guys going through a little series of a few videos. We have Pixlr X and Pixlr E. Pixlr X is easier. We start using it when students start in grade 6. We're going to start you guys with Pixlr E. And this video is just going to talk about the absolute basics. Okay, we have two options here to start. We can open a picture, or we're going to create new just so that we can get a canvas. There's different sizes. If you're not quite sure, we're going to leave it as the default and click the 920 by 1080. What do we see on the screen? We see some options, some tools that when you hover over them, it tells you what it is. Over here we have three palettes or panels or menus. Navigator zooms in and out. We have the layers, which we're going to use in just a second, and we have the history of all the actions that we take. Let's do a couple simple things. Let's bring in a new layer. We can do it from here in the layers panel, or we can do it from here. Add a new layer or bring in a picture as a layer. Always multiple options. Let's just bring in an image. Let's bring in old mango, and we bring it in. And in this case, our picture is bigger than our canvas. Maybe we could have brought that in. We're just going to resize this and move it around. Speaking of moving it around, actually I'm just going to do something right here, and I'm going to rotate it, and super, there we go. You can also, the tool that we're using to move it is this, what do they call it? Arrange tool. You can move that around. Super. These tools right here all work together. Matter of fact, actually all of these 6 go together. Let's look at them individually. This is the marquee tool, which allows you to select a certain area and do certain things to it. The easiest way to demonstrate that is to hit delete. I did that and nothing happened because I'm not on the right layer. Now I'm on the right layer, and hit delete, and it's gone. If I wanted to select a portion of the mango, I could use switch the tool. I could click there. I could also click this guy and add to the selection and build it out. The selection, and if I hit delete now, it takes it away. Oftentimes though, you want the opposite. So the opposite is inverting. So now it takes the opposite and it leaves you with that. I'm going to go back in time. I can hit Command Z, but I can go back in my history palette to here. So you have various options. One to note is that, let's use that circle again. Before we do that, let's change the feather and see what the feather does. If we hit delete on there, you'll notice that the edges are a lot softer. What do you mean? Well, let's do that a different way. Let's do that same thing again and hit delete, and now we have a very hard edge. So that's what the feather means. So the marquee tool has those options. Similarly, I'm going to go back in time here and look at the lasso tool. You could make a selection by drawing, and you could delete or remove it, or oftentimes when you get a little bit more understanding, you can do certain things to selections. So in this case, we're changing the color, as you can see here. With the marquee tool, you can also essentially have a polygon tool, which will make a series of straight lines. And you go back to the beginning, and then it dances, and you can either do whatever you're going to do in there. You could paint inside the area, you could delete it, etc. There's all kinds of things you can do. With the lasso tool, there is, this one's kind of tough. The magnetic tool will actually stick to the side. So I'm going relatively close, and believe it or not, it's detecting the edge, and sometimes this works greatly, and sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to hit Command D to get rid of those ants. I double click to close off the selection, Command D. And again, you can add, or you can do the feather and change the size as well. The other one that goes in here is the wand. This picks a color. You pick a color, and in this case it picked white. If I hit delete, it's gone. Most of it's gone. Command D. If you do the same thing on the yellow, notice it only picks that yellow. But if we increase the tolerance or the range of that color, watch what happens now. In this case, it picked all of that yellow. And just to go back over invert, we flip it around, and now we have a selection, maybe in this case is a bit cleaner. There's never one way to do things. The other little thing in here we're going to talk about selection tools before we stop is this contiguous guy. Let's go back. Let's go back again and turn that off. Notice that when we picked, let's turn the feather down just to show this point. Command D gets rid of the ants. Whoops. So in this case, it picked all that yellow that was touching or contiguous with that yellow. If we turn this off, it picks other pieces of that color that is in the image as well. This may come in handy. This just means touching. And finally, for the selection tools, you're probably familiar with the crop tool, which simply changes the overall size of your image. If it cuts things out, it will take all those pixels away, and that's what you have left. So there's a quick little introduction to here. And we're going to do one other thing. On this particular layer, just to show you what layers are, we're going to pick a paint bucket, a green, and fill. So on this layer, it filled it. Now, if you understand this idea, that now the green is sitting on top of the mango, congratulations, that is the essence of Photoshop. A couple of things you can do here is you can turn layers on and off by hitting the check mark. You can change the name of the layer. You can change the transparency of the layer. You can lock the layer so it doesn't move around. You can duplicate the layer, so now we have another copy. So now we actually have, well, hold on, let's go to this guy. So now we're still on that layer. Ah, it's turned off, that's why. What happened there? Oh, he's off the screen, that's why. Zoom in again is there. So again, the 3 panels or palettes, navigate, layers, and history. The tools are here. We're going to look at the other tools in the next video.